Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, two names synonymous with ambition, innovation, and drastic government cuts? Yes, you heard that right. These two influential figures are not just about rockets and biotech. They have a bold vision for the federal government. That's right, folks. These two billionaires have a plan, a $2 trillion plan, to shrink the federal government. It's a proposal that aims to cut down on what they see as bloated bureaucracy and inefficiency. They say it's about efficiency, about letting the private sector work its magic. But let's be honest, it feels a lot like taking a chainsaw to a budget that needs at most a trim. The scale of these cuts is unprecedented and could have far-reaching consequences. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the real-world impact of slashing budgets and reducing government roles. This is about people's lives, working-class families, federal employees, folks who rely on government services. They're the ones who'll feel the squeeze. The ripple effects could be devastating. And we're not talking about tightening the belt a notch. We're talking about potentially losing your job, your healthcare, your safety net. The stakes are incredibly high. So are these cuts a magic bullet for what ails America, or are they a cutthroat strategy that leaves the most vulnerable holding the bag? The debate is heated and opinions are divided. Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the potential fallout. We'll explore the broader implications and the possible unintended consequences. We'll examine the impact on everyday Americans, from job losses and financial struggles to the erosion of essential services. The human cost could be enormous. We'll hear from experts, explore potential solutions, and ask the tough questions about the ethical implications of this bold proposal. Is there a middle ground? Get ready, folks, because things are about to get real. The conversation is just beginning and the stakes couldn't be higher. Let's talk about federal employees for a second. These are the unsung heroes who work tirelessly behind the scenes. These are the folks who keep the government running, from the park rangers protecting our national treasures to the scientists researching life-saving cures. They are the backbone of our society, ensuring that essential services are delivered efficiently and effectively. But in the eyes of Musk and Ramaswamy, they're apparently just expendable line items on a budget. Their contributions are often overlooked and undervalued. Imagine this. You've dedicated your career to public service. You wake up every day with a sense of duty and commitment to your community. You believe in what you do. Then bam! Your job's on the chopping block because some billionaire thinks the private sector can do it better. It's a harsh reality that many public servants face. Oh, and did I mention the online harassment? Because that's part of the deal too. Public servants often find themselves targeted by trolls and critics on social media. Musk, in particular, has made a habit of publicly attacking federal employees, especially those involved in climate change research. His tweets can be demoralizing and damaging. The result? Fear, anxiety, and a mass exodus of talented individuals who are sick of being treated like pawns in a billionaire's game. This brain drain is detrimental to the functioning of our government. This isn't just about losing a paycheck. It's about losing a sense of purpose, of security, of dignity. Public servants take pride in their work, and losing their jobs can be a devastating blow. And for what? To save a few bucks that could easily be found elsewhere if we're honest about where the real waste is. The cost of losing dedicated public servants far outweighs any short-term savings. It's not just individuals who stand to lose. Entire communities could be devastated by these proposed cuts. Think about it. Less federal funding means fewer teachers in our schools, fewer firefighters and police officers on our streets, and fewer social workers supporting vulnerable families. Local economies, already struggling in many parts of the country, would be dealt a devastating blow. Businesses rely on government contracts. Families depend on the services provided by federal agencies. Cut those off at the knees, and you're looking at a recipe for economic disaster. Experts warn of a ripple effect, with job losses in one sector triggering a cascade of economic hardship across entire communities. The loss of essential services like healthcare and education would exacerbate existing inequalities, hitting low-income families and communities of color the hardest. The fabric of our society is woven together by these essential services. Cut them and we risk unraveling the very things that make our communities strong and resilient. A nation divided, the politics of cuts. Now you might be thinking, surely these cuts aren't a done deal, right? Well, the political landscape is about as clear as a mud wrestling match. On one side, you've got some Republicans nodding along, eager to shrink the government and unleash the power of the free market. On the other side, you've got folks who see these cuts for what they are, a heartless attack on the most vulnerable among us. Even within the Republican Party, there's disagreement. Some, like House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, are open to certain reforms, like stricter work requirements for social programs. But even those proposals are deeply unpopular with the American people. Polls show that the vast majority of Americans oppose cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and education. They understand that these programs aren't just handouts. They're investments in our future. But will their voices be heard above the clamor of billionaires pushing their own agendas? That, my friends, is the million-dollar question. Ethics in the crosshairs, Musk and Ramaswamy's tactics. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the billionaire on Twitter. Elon Musk's influence extends far beyond his companies. His tweets alone can sway markets and public opinion. Musk's tactics in particular have raised serious ethical concerns. His approach often blurs the line between free speech and outright harassment. This isn't just about disagreeing with government policies. It's about publicly bullying and intimidating individuals who have dedicated their lives to public service. Such actions can have far-reaching consequences. Imagine being a climate scientist working for the EPA, only to have Elon Musk publicly accuse you of being part of a woke conspiracy. This kind of rhetoric can undermine years of scientific research and public trust. That's not just unpleasant, it's downright dangerous. It can lead to threats, harassment, and even violence against individuals who are simply doing their jobs. It creates a chilling effect, discouraging talented individuals from pursuing careers in government and undermining public trust in vital institutions. This erosion of trust can have long-term impacts on governance and public policy. Ramaswamy, while perhaps less overtly aggressive, shares Musk's disdain for government bureaucracy. His rhetoric often focuses on the inefficiencies and failures of the system. He talks about transparency and accountability, but his solutions seem more focused on dismantling the system than on actually fixing it. This approach can be just as harmful as outright hostility. The question we need to ask ourselves is this: are these the kind of tactics we want to see in a democratic society? Do we want leaders who tear down institutions or those who work to improve them? Or do we want a government that values its employees, respects dissent, and engages in good faith debate? The choice is ours, and it will shape the future of our democracy. Beyond drastic cuts, paths to fiscal responsibility. Okay, so we've established that slashing government spending like a kid in a candy store is probably not the best approach. But that doesn't mean we should just ignore the issue of government waste and inefficiency. There are smarter, more humane ways to achieve fiscal responsibility without resorting to draconian cuts. Think targeted reforms, streamlining bureaucracy, investing in technology, and prioritizing essential services. We can learn from countries that have successfully implemented similar reforms, studying their successes and avoiding their pitfalls. Policy experts suggest a multi-pronged approach that includes both spending cuts and revenue increases. Closing tax loopholes, raising taxes on the wealthy, and exploring new revenue streams could provide the necessary funds to maintain essential services while also reducing the deficit. It's not about choosing between a bloated government and a bare-bones one. It's about finding the right balance, one that prioritizes the well-being of all Americans while ensuring fiscal sustainability for future generations. A choice for America, shared prosperity, or billionaire's vision. So here we are, folks, at a crossroads. Do we follow the path laid out by Musk and Ramaswamy, a path paved with job losses, economic uncertainty, and the dismantling of essential services? Or do we choose a different path, one that recognizes the vital role of government in ensuring the well-being of all Americans? This isn't just about budgets and balance sheets, it's about the kind of society we want to live in. Do we value shared prosperity, social safety nets, and a government that works for everyone, not just the wealthy and well-connected? Or are we content to let billionaires dictate our future, even if it means sacrificing the needs of the many for the desires of the few? The answers to these questions will shape the future of our nation. Let's make sure we choose wisely, because the stakes, my friends, have never been higher before.